Well, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's going by so fast, right? It's already Wednesday. That to me is so fast. And that sit was like, seemed like it was only 5 minutes long. And maybe that's just me. So we are slowing down. This is a great process of slowing down because we really move fast in our lives. I move a little too fast, and sometimes mishaps happen as a result. Yes, I'm looking at my husband right now. We forget who we are. We forget we have a body and it can only do so much. So I wanted to talk about today slowing down and awakening to your body. Because most of the time we are speeding around and we are not in our bodies. We're definitely in our brain, but we are, the rest of us, yeah, it's only there to carry the brain around, the head around, that's it. All right, so I also was appreciating Joseph Goldstein's book, Mindfulness, and his 4 foundations of mindfulness. The first foundation being mindfulness of the body. Yeah, that's right, the body. The Buddha spoke in many places of his teachings about the benefits of using the body as an object of contemplation. He spoke of mindfulness of the body as being the simplest and most direct way for overcoming the onslaughts of Mara, which we heard about yesterday, the onslaughts of Mara. The forces of ignorance and delusion in the mind. Mindfulness of the body as the simplest and most direct way for overcoming the onslaughts of Mara, the forces of ignorance and delusion in the mind. So there are 4 aspects of practice. Contemplating our experience internally, externally, and both. Contemplating the nature of impermanence, the arising, the passing away, and both the arising and passing away in regard to our experience. Establishing enough mindfulness to recognize simply what is unfolding moment to moment without mental commentary. And to remain mindful of what's happening. And the 4th aspect of practice, abiding without clinging to anything that enters our realm of experience. This is the 4 aspects of practice, mindfulness of the body. Let's go through this. So, contemplating our experience internally, that's kind of easy yet hard. I know on the first night, Sunday night, I was really working on focusing on my breath and what was happening as I was breathing in and out. And eventually, I don't know, maybe the second period, I noticed my mind felt like a big cramp. Has anybody felt that way, or is it just me? okay? It just felt like a big cramp, and my whole neck and my head felt all tense as well. So this is the experience internally, mindful, contemplating our experience. I also noticed a bit of anxiety arising when I kind of noticed I was internal and there was a lot that I was not familiar with internally. So I noticed that anxiety just arising, and then again, working, right? Trying not to cling to anything that's entering my realm of experience, noticing it, kind of holding it. Because the body actually, if you're really, really working on the breath, where it is in your body, after a while, you might notice how vast it is in there. You think it's constrained by your skin, or I do. I naturally think that. But it's it's kind of like an electron microscope, right? When you really look at your cells through an electron microscope, you see there are vast amount of space between cells, right, Tanya? I'm sure you have looked in an electron microscope. And that can be a cause of some anxiety because there's such vastness there. So contemplating this experience, kind of just being with it. And then externally, contemplating external experience. This means mindful of your bodily actions, of others when they draw your attention. And what is that? So we might see someone doing something very unmindful. And so that's like an external action of others that's drawing your attention. So instead of the usual tendency of judging or reacting to seeing what the other people are doing, can you just rest in the simple mindfulness of what the other person is doing without getting lost in your own thoughts of how mindful or how mindless or how slow or how fast or careless they may be. Does that make sense? That's kind of funny because, here you are judging them. Oh, they are so mindless. And what are you doing? You're being really mindless right there, judging others. Unless, I guess, you could be mindful of your judgments, right? And then you can let them go. Otherwise, you're just right in there with everybody else. So contemplating our experience internally, externally, and then both. Oh yeah, the external also. I remember one time someone complaining that someone's breathing was so loud that was just totally throwing their concentration off. All right? Or, we've had some comments about Can you shut off the microphone? It's too darn loud. It's distracting me. Right now, that is an example of external external experience um, that your commentary about that is not really very helpful. And can you then just pay attention to that person's breathing and notice the loudness or the softness of it and use it as a mindfulness experience of your own? Notice the static. Is it really loud? Is it really soft? Just noticing without mental commentary. And the other interesting thing about external experience is that when you notice somebody who is being very mindful, who is being very, very focused on what they are doing, very careful, isn't this something that kind of encourages you in your practice? So the Buddha said it's good to associate yourself with people who are really practicing deeply. And you yourself can then be just doing your own practice wholeheartedly. You can be an example that helps others, really, just by doing your own thing well. Then this second aspect of practice about contemplating the nature of impermanence, the arising, the passing away, and both the arising and passing away. Oh, but before I go there, I forgot to do both internal and external experiences, contemplating both. And so Goldstein suggests that we should contemplate experience without considering it to be part of one's own experience or that of another, but just as an objective experience in itself. Being aware of whatever there is within or without, and in the end, to go beyond the division altogether. Non-duality. So the second aspect of practice, contemplating the nature of impermanence, arising and passing away, and both arising and passing away in regard to our experience. Seeing all phenomena as impermanent. So the Buddha said, bhikkhus, when the perception of impermanence is developed and cultivated, it eliminates all sensual lust, all lust for existence, it eliminates all ignorance, it uproots the conceit, I am. Better than 100 years lived without seeing the arising and passing of things is one day lived seeing their arising and passing. Right, this impermanence. when we are walking, when we are stopping, when we are bowing, all of those different positions are arising and passing of different phenomenon. And I think I've talked about the 5 Skandas before. That was the Buddha's first teaching. And in it, Skandas are heaps, 5 heaps that just as you follow those heaps, it just tends to, it can solidify this idea of self, of yourself. So he taught that each of those skandhas are impermanent. And so because of that, it is unreliable and unsatisfying. There's no permanent self that you can make out of this, though we do. That's who we are. That's how, and then we get all, arrogant and huffy about, if anybody talks bad about us, oh no, that's wrong. I am not that, right? Yes, so if each of those heaps are impermanent, unreliable, then how can you truly think that this is me? This is I'm June. I mean, there's the form and formlessness about the absolute and the relative. And on the relative level, yeah, I do have a name. But on the absolute level, I'm a conglomeration of electrons, perhaps, but really, it's something to really contemplate about who am I really? I like to think I'm somebody, but am I really? Yeah, right. Also, when you're walking, who is walking? Who is breathing? And I think that deep attention to the breath really helps to encourage or create this, I don't know if create is the right word, but is the practice of mindfulness of the body. And Dogen said, what is the way of the Buddha? It is to study the self. What is the study of the self? It is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be enlightened by all things. So we're really focused on contemplating of the body as we breathe, and we're seeing, oh yeah, okay, this is me, this is my body, and then when you really, really can focus in, something happens or can happen where there is this dissolving of boundaries. It can happen. So about 3 years ago or more, I started, I became aware of Reggie Ray's work and somatic meditation, which for me, I always, being a hula practitioner, I am very much aware of my body and what it's doing. Or, when you're dancing, you have to know where your hand is, right, or your foot is, and the combination of both. So when I heard about somatic meditation, which is a Vajrayana practice, so Joseph Goldstein is from the Theravadan school. Reggie Ray is studied with Trungpa Rinpoche, so he's the Vajrayana Buddhist school. And so this contemplation of the body, he's taking a little step further by really focusing your attention on different parts of your body and actually trying to relax the tension in these parts of the body using the breath. Now, I remember when I talked about this 3 years ago or so, maybe it's 4 years ago now, it's like, okay, this is new, being in our bodies, okay, well, I'll try it. And it is difficult. If you have not been in your body and primarily in your head, the neural pathways are just not developed. They're there, but they're just not developed. Just like when you do anything a lot of, you get good at it. If you're not focused on your body very much, obviously you're not good at being in touch with your body. But that's okay. There, you can always start because the neural pathways are there. They are not gone. They're just dormant. So he is really, he calls it soma, somatic meditation. Soma referring to the field of experience that opens up when we descend beneath the surface of conceptual thinking into the still depths of our body. Though sometimes it may not seem so still if you are all riled up, right? It can be kind of intense in your body. But we are, again, not pushing away anything that arises. We're working with it. And we're trying to drop the story because we're trying to drop into the body. The body has its own awareness and its own way of knowing. Completely independent of conceptual thinking, which we are real good at, the conceptual thinking part. Absolutely, that's what is valued in our culture. And it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. We need to think well. I appreciate knowledge. That's important in our lives, but it's not everything. So through the somatic journey, we discover that our bodies are not only open to the universe beyond. In fact, we gradually come to see, to experience that the only meaningful way to describe our body at that point is that the body of the universe and our body are inseparable dimensions of one and the same reality. we discover that our own life from the beginning has been the free and joyful expression of the universe itself. Everybody's going, well, I don't know about that. But it's true. A beautiful thing Reggie Ray says, within the vast territories of the Soma, we are able to witness the final beatitude, the sacredness of all being. Right? This is the fabled Buddhist nirvana, and that it is fully and completely revealed and available right here, right now, in this very body of ours. And this is the heart of compassion. So these are there's 6 protocols that he uses. 6 protocols that he offers in his book, The Awakening Body. Again, we're learning how to connect with our bodies, discover how we are holding on, and then develop the capacity to release, relax, let go, and see what comes next. So very much like thoughts. And this is our practice. Discovering what we're holding on to, developing the capacity to release, relax, let go, and see what comes next. So first, you have to direct your attention to your body. Make contact, okay? And you're going to try to feel physical sensations. What's going on? Where? And then you're going to see if you can notice any tension. Like when I noticed my mind was a cramp, I noticed my whole head and neck was cramped up as well, as I started to really breathe in and out. So then you're going to practice placing your attention within the tension, your attention within the tension. So really experiencing it and inhabiting it from within. And you're discovering that as you do this, you are gaining agency over what before seemed to be an autonomous tension outside of your conscious reach. But you're gaining agency as you do this, like any practice. And you start to soften, dissolve, and release the tension. So you're really going to get intimate with bodily sensations, and then feel their insubstantial quality, how they are impermanent, fluid, ever-changing, and even eventually intangible and ineffable. So I thought, generally when this meditation you can actually lie down, but I thought we can sit, and I thought we'd do our heads first, or just kind of focus on our heads because it's the closest to our brains, and it might be a little easier to access. I used to say, all right, can you feel your big toe? It's like, what? Big toe? I don't think so. All right, let's focus on your head, okay? So I want you to breathe. We're going to start at the top of your head. Okay, just notice if you can feel anything, and take an inhale, and as you breathe out, you're breathing in to the top of your head. Letting the energy just flow through your brain, going down your body into the earth. Just keep breathing. And as you're breathing, just notice that you're so used to your head as being a thinking place. Can it just be a feeling place? And just as you exhale, just kind of sweep your breath through your head, all the way, letting it go down your body, into the chair, into the earth. All right, so now notice your forehead. Just, again, breathe into your forehead. Again, let the energy just flow down your head, neck, to your body. See if you can notice any tension or any feeling there. If you can't, don't worry about it, just keep breathing. Notice your cheeks, your nose. Breathing into this area, your sinuses. As if your breath is coming from this area. Your cheeks, I guess it could be actually, yeah, through the sinuses. Notice if there's any tension, letting it go. Your teeth, your jaws. Bone can hold tension, so just see if you can feel your jawbone. A lot of space, just sweep it with your breath. If you notice any feelings, any anxiety, just observe and bring your attention gently back to breathing. You might also kind of hold yourself in a loving, nurturing embrace. So we're exploring new areas, and it may not be so easy. So just breathe with any anxiety that there might be happening. And then just return to your jaw, your teeth, your tongue. Then the sides of your face, your ears, just relaxing. Your ears have a lot of wonderful acupressure points. And relaxing your inner ear. Going back to your scalp. So a lot of tension can be held in the scalp. See if you notice any. And just keep breathing. Might notice the back of your neck. And now go to your eyes. The eyes, the eye sockets. Go to the back of your eyes. Keep breathing. Your optic nerve, which is a little down from the center. And it's all accessible if you put your attention there and just relax. Your eyes are a microcosm of your whole body, and the tension you hold in your inner eyes are very much bound to the tension held in your whole body. So see if you can just breathe into your eyes and just relax. And just release any tension down, back of your neck, through your body, through your buttocks, into the chair, into the earth. Spend a little time with the eyes. You relax, you're opening up blood vessels so blood can flow and nourish. So relaxing is really important. Again, if thoughts arise, just notice the thoughts and then let them go gently and return to your breath, to your eyes. So your eyes can be the access point to your whole body. So relax them, relax completely your eyes. You may feel like melting, like you're melting. Just notice that. That's all good. Then you notice your upper lip, your lower lip. Just keep breathing. Now just let your whole face melt. Eyebrows. Let your face become like putty, dissolving, softening, losing its shape completely. Now go back up to the top of your head again and just let energy flow through your brain, down your neck, through your body, to the floor, to the earth. Just practice this, your head being a feeling place, not thinking, dissolving. Listen, I want to do a little work around the neck too, because neck and shoulders can hold a lot of tension as well. So just notice your neck and breathe. Breathe into your shoulders. See if you can feel any tension. You can kind of maybe move your head a little bit. Kind of refresh your sense of feeling. And just keep breathing. Relaxing, releasing any tension down your back, to the chair, and to the earth. Noticing your shoulder blades. Seeing you can set your awareness and attention into your shoulder blades, the upper back, the middle back, and the lower back. See if you notice any tension in your muscles. Relax and release. Going down from your shoulders, down your arms, your long bones of your upper arms, to the elbows, your forearms, just breathing and just bringing your attention to those spots. See if you can notice any feeling, any tension, and just release. Your wrists, your hands also can hold a lot of tension. Now the lower back, the buttocks, we do a lot of sitting and meditation practice, so can get a little stiff. See if you can notice any pain or stiffness and just release and relax. Your hips, your thighs, your knees, then your calves, bones. Relax everything, release through the ankles and the feet. All the bones of your feet and your toes. Just breathe and just let go of any tension and breathe. then just see if you can go a little internal with your intestines, your pelvic area, your stomach, your organs, the liver, your lungs, and your heart. See if you can notice the beating of your heart that began before you were born. So let your awareness permeate your whole body and try to feel your body as a whole. And see if you can breathe into all the pores of your skin, of your entire body, all at once. Okay, so you can just slowly open your eyes and come back. How was that?
Good. It was relaxing to the point where I was falling asleep. Like having jerked back away.
Right. Because our bodies are, yeah, like I'm lying back on the on the wall now. My body is so relaxed, I have to lean back. Right, so could you sense a stillness in your body?
But then when I sensed that stillness, there was an anxiety because of that stillness.
Ah,
It came back, which was
okay, that's interesting. Yeah, okay, so that arose, right? So noticing that, that's good. That's good. That's life. So how do we work with it? Yeah. And kind of, it's interesting, can you hang out with that anxiety actually without the story? That's kind of an interesting exercise also. How long can you hang out with it before you distract yourself? Yeah. Yes, all right. You are in charge of the microphone, Lindy.
It's not so much of a question, but my doctor gave me a book, like I want to say 3 weeks ago. And I'm kind of devouring it. It's by a philosopher. I'm getting his name, Aurelius or something. But he said something when you were talking about the person who's getting kind of annoyed with the loud breathing, and you were like, oh, focus on that breath and maybe count it. He has this great quote, and I'm going to shorten and paraphrase it, but essentially he says, the problem is also the solution, meaning if you know the problem, then you also know the solution, and they're one and the same. And I was like, oh my God, they really are. So it reminded me of that and a lot of what you were talking about right now. Marcus Aurelius, that's his name.
All right. Was he the great Greek philosopher, Marcus Aurelius?
Roman,
sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Same. Well, not really.
Yes, Roshi.
So interesting about the body. Some of you know I fell really bad on Monday, and I may have broken a rib, and I may have broken my wrist, but I don't think so. But we have a weightlifter next door that I went over to see yesterday, and she told me that taking ibuprofen actually slows the healing process. So I've been researching this because I've been taking ibuprofen, and my sense is that when we have pain in the body, the pain is the body is giving us feedback that you shouldn't use that part of the body and let it rest. And the body is so amazing that it will heal itself. But when you take something like ibuprofen, you're masking the pain, which none of us wants to feel pain. But I've not been taking ibuprofen today, and I'm in more pain. But I know the pain. I mean, it's interesting that the body maybe needs the pain. We need to have the pain to be aware of that part of the body needs to rest and not be used. And when you take pain medication, you're masking the pain, so you actually don't know what you're doing with the body at that point. So I find that really interesting, since I'm in pain physically.
Right. So it's interesting because our neighbor's also a PhD in biochemistry, actually. So she knows about the interactions of what's going on there when an injury occurs. And she should know, she's a Olympics weightlifter. One day. Show my muscle here.
June's working out there now.
Yeah. Yes, Barb.
Oh, thank you. It was lovely. I've been doing a body scan by Stephen Levine, who I just adored. Oh, just adored. And there's a lot of similarities. I feel like he was a pioneer for all of this, including trauma-aware body scanning. And what I really notice is how much better I actually, and this isn't a request to change anything, I do better internally when I ask myself to soften and not relax, because culturally, relax is like, relax. I mean, that's how I hear it in my head. It's so funny. And I loved being guided to the head first. And that's, of course, where most of these exercises start. And I really enjoyed hearing about the space between the cells. For me, it's very comforting. It doesn't actually provoke anxiety. It's like a place to be, thank God. And because I worked with fascia for years and years, it's actually the largest organ. And in the fascia is embedded all of our nerve cells, all of them. And the fascia actually generates the grounding, the substance that our electrons use for electricity. So instead of breathing into my skin, I breathe into my fascia and just tell it how much I trust it to take me, because it always has and always will. But I'm so grateful for this reminder at this point in our retreat about embodiment. And I have to say, there's times when a place in me just won't soften, and I just surround it with merciful awareness, and that's where it is at the moment. And I'm very grateful for that too. And Roshi, yes, ibuprofen can be very detrimental. A combination of ice and heat is very helpful. I'm icing my bursitis right now in my hip. And I've found that 3 times a day of mild icing is helpful. And I'm just, the body has so much wisdom. And I agree. It's a good reminder, not that I have to agree or disagree, but not getting caught up in a story, and to be able to find a way, even briefly, to experience just the sensation of what I thought was anxiety can sometimes it can just flip into, holy cow, that's a lot of energy. Wow. And sometimes it doesn't. And then there's just mercy, right? But thank you for the humility that you brought this with today. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
I love that word, soften. I know, relax, I agree, and I didn't know what other word to use, but now I know. Thank you. Soften.
It's actually my personalized license plate.
Excellent. I love that.
Barb said something that reminded me. So theater has a lot of different schools. It's kind of like Zen, you know. And I studied under Lecoq's, which is all about physical and how we as humans communicate non-verbally mainly. And Lecoq's whole thing was your body will always betray you. Like, you know, it sends off signals that you don't want to give sometimes because like the mind, we think of the mind as being the all-knowing source and everything like that, but the body can so easily overrule the mind. And like, it doesn't matter if you're saying something like this, your body will always be like, actually, it's this. So yeah, what Barb was saying really reminded me of that and tied into that. It's cool.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Body. I don't know why I said that.
I love that whispering. Body, body. Thank you.
I guess it was there for a reason. Thank you, Barb. I don't know why it came out that way. So, I mean, this is mindfulness of the body, and then there's mindfulness of sensations, which are the emotions, right? That's another whole area to discuss. And I know that we're starting to bring this into our foundations of mindfulness, which is really exciting. So, yeah, that's another talk there. Yeah. Joseph Goldstein also mentioned Dhammadina, the nun during the Buddhist time, Dhammadina. And in this book, The First Free Women, Poems of the Early Buddhist Nuns, there's a beautiful poem by Dhammadina. Yeah. Dhammadina, she who has given herself to the Dharma. For so long, I thought only of the river's end. Then one morning, I set my paddle down to watch the sunrise over the eastern hills, only to find myself floating somehow gently upstream. I promise, it was not what I had expected. So, setting your paddle down. For so long, I only thought of the goal, right? The river's end. I only thought of the river's end, the goal, GOAL. And then one morning, I stopped doing. I set my paddle down to watch the sunrise over the eastern hills, only to find myself floating somehow gently upstream. How do you float upstream? I promise it was not what I had expected. Prepare for the unexpected, right? I think this is where our practice of not knowing comes in again, bearing witness, really what we're doing on the cushion during Sesshin right now. That's what we are doing on the cushion. And out of that, some kind of action, being arises. promise it was not what I expected.
Prepare for lunch.